Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending where you are in the world. And thank you for joining me for today's Cichlids and Coffee live stream. And Jack Turner, if you're still on there, Jack Turner, I notice you are the early bird today. And it looks like you're first on the chat. So if you'd like some channel stickers, just go ahead and send me your mailing address to ben.o.cichlid at gmail.com. I will get you some channel stickers, and thank you for showing up early. We have SB Cichlids from the UK. Hello, SB Cichlids. And J-Dog 67, howdy to you. Paul Alvarez, hello, Paul. Good morning from Houston. All right, ready for a storm. Storm Hannah. Okay, well, be safe, my friend. I spent a summer in Houston working on Westheimer Boulevard. You're familiar with that, no doubt. And the big club back then was Gillies over in Montrose. T-Bone, hello, T-Bone. Cat Sailor, good morning, everyone. And Ben, Candy, and GP when they all get here. Okay. Good to see you here, Cat Sailor. Thank you for sitting in. And get the word out, share the link. We are going to get underway here. Po Siwi, hello, Po Siwi. Good to see you here. And Bruno Lobo, hello, Bruno. Thank you for showing up. Let's see here. Keep in mind, folks, that once I get rolling here, I'm not going to be looking at the chat much because it is a little bit distracting, and so I just tend to kind of roll along. It doesn't mean that I don't like you or that I just ignored you. It just means that I'm trying to pay attention to the subject. Hey, GP, thank you for showing up, my friend. And Raymond Hurst, hello, Raymond. And Gary Brinney, good morning from Mason, Ohio. All right. Looks like Neil is here. Hello, Neil. And Dave Hibbard. How many thumbs down did I get before I started? You know, that's the one of the signs of success is that you get a dedicated troll following. And before I even get into the subject, I get a thumbs down. That's a sign of success. It means the channel is actually really making it. So. Comply 5, hello Comply, or maybe just Comply V, I don't know, could be a V there. And hello Tiffany. So, and Michael Catalano. All right, let me get off this chatter. I'll stay on it forever here, and let's get into the subject at hand. And if it's all coming through nice and clear, and if the sound is crisp, if GP give me a sound and video check there. Hey Candy. Good to see you there. And there I go, peeking at the chat again. But let me go ahead and... all right, here we go. All right. So, welcome everybody. Welcome to my wonderful moderators. I always say this, and I mean it. They're the best on YouTube. And thank you to all of you who support the channel. And thank you to last week's Super Chats. And very appreciated when you do that. This week, by the way, any Super Chat that's over $10, I'm going to put into a hat. And I got sent a massive air pump. Look at this thing. It's still in the box. Just took it out of the box. You're seeing it for the first time. This is from Expertmatic, the folks that sent me that inside filter that I did a review on. And look at this beast. It's just a beast. You know, you can see it here. And pushes a lot of air, has 2 outlets, and comes with air stones and airline tubing, and pushes a lot of air. Low noise, low wattage. Anyway, any super chat over $10, I'm going to put you in a hat, and I'm going to do a drawing. I'm just going to ship this out if you want a pump. And I still have to record a video that reviews it, which is what I agreed to do for Expertmatic. And then after I'm done with the review, I'll go ahead and send it to whoever does a super chat. for over $10 that wins the drawing. I'll do some kind of a drawing, I guess. And let's go ahead and do our normal dropping logo just to officially start this live stream. All right, now it's official. Now, if you're new to the channel, and I've noticed that the percentage of subscribers that watch the videos is going up, and I like that. So you can, if you like learning about fish and sharing ideas and that kind of stuff, hit that bell, hit that sub button, and that way you'll always get notifications and you'll know when things are happening. And it tells me that you like the content on the channel. So I'd appreciate that if you care to. Also, just as a quick note, I have added more fish to the limited edition coffee mug series. This was the original coffee mug that you see here, the one that started it all. I know a lot of you out there have them, and I added the ruby red to the series, so I've got quite a few of my fish on different coffee cups. I also have a new design on the hoodies, and it's going to be it's displaying the new channel motto, which is going to be always be learning, and that's the one that came up in the survey as the most popular one, always be learning. And you can get those at the Teespring store. If you go to Teespring, be sure to use live stream at checkout for a 10% discount. And also, thank you to all of you. I've noticed there's been a lot of activity on the Amazon store. Thank you to those of you who have used the link to get to Amazon. If you use that link, the amazon.com/shop/ben.o.chart, if you use that link to get to Amazon and you get something, even if it's not from the store, it gives a credit to the channel. So thank you to all of you who have done that. I looked over some of the products that were being purchased, and a lot of them were not even in my store. They were not fish related. People were just getting other things, but it was giving a little small percentage to the channel, and that's awesome. That's awesome. I really appreciate it when you do that. And a quick note on a milestone that the channel hit. We hit 27,000 subscribers. Thank you to all of you who support and share and tell others about the channel. It hit 27 subscribers. Again, if you told me a couple of years ago that I would be anywhere near that, I would have laughed at you and said that's impossible. But thank you to you for helping to get there. So let's talk a little bit about what's been going on. And there were a couple recent videos. I made a mistake last Sunday, I think it was, and I dropped 2 videos at once, which I normally don't do, and because sometimes one gets lost in the shuffle and the confusion or something, and it's just not what the channel does. The channel normally doesn't drop 2 videos at once, but it happened, and the Expertmatic review on the filter, the internal filter, which is, by the way, doing a great job. It's filling up with detritus. Some people were worried that it would only get detritus in the cutouts. It's actually getting detritus throughout the entire cylinder, all 3 compartments. It's continuing to push out push a lot of water. It's doing a great job. I'm liking what I'm seeing. But the manufacturer had told me, look, we're low on stock, hold off on the video. And so I had switched the water change video to drop that day. But for some reason, I didn't change the date on the filter review. And so the filter review dropped. A lot of folks went to Amazon and saw that it was out of stock. So 2 things. One, it's coming back in stock in about a week or 2. I think it's going to be probably about a week. And I've posted the discount code. If you want to get one, there's a discount code underneath that video that you can use now that will save you, I think it's about 5% or so, or maybe a little more, maybe 10%. Also, talking about discount codes, I talked to the folks at Santa Monica Filtration. Some of you have been interested in the algae scrubbers. And someone asked me about a code. Have you ever had a code for algae scrubbers? So I called them up at Santa Monica Filtration, and they said that if you order an algae scrubber and you mention that you want the ben.o.cichlid discount, they'll give you 10% off on the cost of the scrubber. They'll give you 10% off. They don't give me anything for that. They don't, they've sent me some scrubbers in the past, so I help them out. But they don't give me a percentage of any sale or anything. But you get 10% off by saying ben.o.cichlid, and that's on the price of the scrubber, not shipping or tax. And if you pay with PayPal, what they do is you pay the full amount, then they issue a 10% refund right away. If you pay with a credit card, I think it takes like a week or two to process it, but you get 10% back that way. So just be sure to mention to them that you want the ben.o.cichlid discount. So anyway, that filter is doing great. I'm really liking it, and it's hidden in the back corner here. You can't see it. It's pushing out air. I'm going to do a follow-up video when I pull it out to clean it. I'm going to do a follow-up video and show you what it looks like. The other video where I got back into water changes, and again, this was based on the on that top 10 list of all-time videos, and one of them was water changes, and especially the like the biggest disasters that can occur during a water change. That video has just jumped up the top 10 list of all-time videos on my channel, and so I did a follow-up on the reasons I do water changes now, which has to do with a lot more than just nitrate reduction. It has to do with remineralizing and hormone removal, and just a whole variety of topics and reasons that I get into in that video. And even if I had a that magic unicorn, if I had that magic unicorn tank that has the full cycle, and I know that some people out there have been able to achieve that with a large amount of biohome or with a deep substrate. They've been able to get a full cycle because they have the anaerobic bacteria that is consuming nitrates and gassing them off. Even if I had that going on, I would still refresh the tank. I would still replace, maybe if I had that going on, maybe I'd do 25%, 20% water changes. These fish here are just, they're just ammonia factories. They produce tremendous amounts of ammonia. You can imagine how much they eat. And so, there's your cichlid keepers are constantly working on ammonia reduction. Very common for tanks to be around 40 parts per million. That's not uncommon, sometimes even 40 to 80. My advice always is look at your fish, see how healthy they look and how they're behaving, and don't sweat it too much. And but if you can keep those nitrates around 20 or even less, that's more ideal. And there are products like algae scrubbers and, of course, water changes, things like that can help in that area. I have another, the other two videos that came out, I talked about food and feeding, how I feed the fish, what I feed them. One interesting comment under one of the videos was somebody who had been buying what was supposed to be a very high quality food for many, many years. And after watching the video, they took a close look at the ingredients. And in the top 5 ingredients, there was only one that was the product that you would want to have the fish eating, was a good source of protein. The other products, the other items in the top 5 were binding agents and fillers. Your wheat and soy, your soy products, your wheat products, and other kinds of binding agents. And he was this person was kind of shocked. And I'm not going to say the brand of the food. I don't want to rag on anybody, but it's a pretty popular food. And so anyway, look at the ingredients, especially the first 5 ingredients, because ingredients are listed in percentage that they actually exist in the food. So the number 1 ingredient is what you have the largest percentage of. And so if that first ingredient is soy flour or wheat, don't you know, realize that you have realize that you've got a situation there going on. So let's take a look at what's coming up. Now I've got a little clip here for you to what's coming up next week, and I paid a visit. There's a store in Los Angeles that I've been trying to get to for a very, very long time, and it's called Mark's, and it's a bit of a landmark in Los Angeles. He's been selling fish for over 30 years, and he was in the middle of a renovation. He was in the middle of moving. We had COVID. Then we had, we had his windows were actually broken during one of the demonstrations that occurred recent. There was always a reason why I could never get to this shop, and I was finally able to get to the shop and do a walkthrough and do a video. And that video is going to be out tomorrow, and I hope you enjoy it. You see me in the video here doing something absolutely crazy. I'm planning on moving with the next, before the end of the year, and here I am buying fish. I'm just sick. I'm sorry, and so at any rate, he had some cichlids that just really popped, and I really liked them, and I went ahead and picked them up, and you can see them there in the bag, and I'm just sick that way, I guess. So let's take a look here at what's on your mind here. It looks like we have a conversation going on about tiger barbs. Hey, in tomorrow's video, you're going to see some real nice tiger barbs. He had them on sale, and when I used to keep community fish, tiger barbs, they always seemed very nippy to me, and so I would avoid them. And of course, that seems kind of unusual since the kind of fish I keep now are way beyond nippy. So I'll come back to the chat in a little bit. Let's go ahead and get into today's topic. The fish are a little worked up, it looks like. They've been fed, and they're due for a water change. And for those of you that are familiar with the channel, I like to keep lists or have lists, and so I have my list today. And for today's topic, which is why bigger is better. And if Kevin Green is on the stream, no jokes, please, Kevin Green. And but let's get into why bigger is better. Ray Cooper in Rhode Island. Hey, Ray. And let me just go back over the chat real quick, make sure I didn't miss any super chats, which I tend to do if I'm not looking. All right, there we go. And remember, any super chat over $10 today, I'm going to put you in the hat. We'll do a drawing between now and next week. For those of you that came in late for this beast right here, this is a very powerful air pump. You can see the size of this thing. It's from Expertmatic, and comes with airline and air stones and pushes a lot of air. It's supposed to be real quiet. The only recommendation they gave me from the manufacturer is to be sure that it is above the tank, which is something you want to do with every air pump. You want to have it above the tank because you don't want to get like a back siphon going and have water, go into your in the event the pump dies on you. So, Candy, you're promoting the Facebook group. I appreciate that. That Facebook group is now over 7,000 members, and it's doing very, very well. And it's a very thank you, David. Chris Pitcher, perfect sound. Thank you, David. I appreciate that input, and thank you, GP. And Michael comes in with $15. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that, my friend. Michael Catalano. Catalano. Possibly an Italian name. Someone once told me if it ends in a vowel, it's probably Italian. All right. So let's get into today's topic a little bit here. And these are the reasons I think, and I definitely want to hear your reasons too, or whether you agree or disagree. I mean, if you disagree with me, that's just important for all of us to hear as much as you agree. And I don't mind people disagreeing with stuff that I say. Always remember, I'm just a guy on YouTube. I don't mind disagreement. I don't mind discussion and counterpoints. I have a couple of subscribers that always counterpoint almost everything I say, and I don't block them. And so if it's polite, and if we can have dialogue that's polite, respectful, and I don't mind if we disagree. I apply that rule to any area of life, and I think we need that a lot. I think a lot of us are very divided right now, unfortunately. I'm not going to get into politics and things since I avoid that like the plague, and on live streams or any kind of YouTube format. But if we can just talk and listen to the other person and have them listen to you and have dialogue, I think we discover that we actually agree on a lot more than we disagree. But if a person gets disrespectful, nasty, or something like that, it's an instant block. We don't mess around with it. We have no time for that. And as one of my kids used to say, don't harsh my mellow. And as IFG used to say, hey IFG, my friend Evan is on the stream. Hi Evan. The opinion you follow should be your own. Simply take this video as a second opinion from a complete stranger online, and those are words to live by from anybody on YouTube. And and that there are a lot of people out there that I really respect, and who's Corey's done a tremendous amount of study, and someone like Rachel O'Leary. These people are they're knowledgeable. And but even everyone has to be. You have to take a grain of salt. Even what Evan says. Huh, Evan? You'd agree with that, right? It's his famous disclaimer. So, by the way, I'm wearing an Imperial Tropicals shirt. I saw a video today on. I think the channel is called Wild Tanks, or Wild Fish, or Wild Aquariums, Wild something. And he had a 30-minute walkthrough of Imperial Tropicals in Florida, and just an amazing setup of indoor and outdoor, fish tanks and tubs and ponds, and I had an opportunity to meet Mike, I guess the current owner. I think maybe his dad started. I'm not really sure, but anyway. He's got some amazing things going on there, so I thought as a little tribute to them, I'd wear the T-shirt. So, getting to the subject, the three things that I think, the 3 points that I feel are important to keep in mind as to why a bigger tank is better is, first of all, it's a lot more forgiving, and by forgiving, here's what I mean. Let's say that you do that classic. A person does that classic mistake when they're cleaning a tank. They do a real thorough cleaning, and they clean out the filter, and they wash everything, and they put it back, and they immediately have a tank that starts cycling again, and they get an ammonia spike, and all their fish die. Now, if I did that in let's say a 20-gallon, even a 30-gallon, maybe even a 40-gallon, there's a chance that all my fish would die. I could take the fluval on the 100-gallon that I have, or even the media that's in the sump underneath this tank, and give it a real good wash, and put it back in, and I think everybody would be fine. And I'll tell you why. There's so much surface area in the tank that is supporting beneficial bacteria. Whether it's the substrate, like the sand in the 100, supports tremendous amounts of beneficial bacteria. The artificial plants, the decor, the 3D background, the rocks, everything here has beneficial bacteria. And so when you mess with a filter, and you in a smaller tank you would have a die-off, in a larger tank, it's going to give you some wiggle room. There's going to be a margin for air in there that you're not going to have in a small setup. And so that's one point that's very key. The killing off of beneficial bacteria is a lot harder when you have a lot more surface area, a lot more pounds of substrate and things of this nature. I mean, it just stands to reason that you're going to have to work a bit harder at killing off your fish. And there's also it's more forgiving if you, let's say you misdose, and you're adding water, and you get the dose a bit off. In a larger tank, you're going to have more dilution. You're going to have more. It's going to be different. It's going to be able to take that impact and to some degree spread it out more, so you're not going to necessarily kill the fish. Let's say you're adding water to your tank, and it became hot in a 20-gallon, and so you add 50% of a 20-gallon hot water. You're going to heat up that tank. You do a tank like this, you're probably going to have to add quite a bit of water to really make a very significant temperature change. I'd probably have to, the doses that you come up with, prime and safe and things, I'd have to really, really mess things up. Let's say I did a 20% water change. So I've got over 100 gallons here of water, plus the water in the sump. A misdose of prime is going to get really diluted out. It's going to be a lot more forgiving, and so there's wiggle room there. Hey Kevin, I'm glad you could make it. I think Kevin's been working on Saturdays. I'm glad to see you here, buddy. And I mentioned you earlier. I said no jokes about the title of this live stream as to why bigger is better. Yes, I know you, Kevin, and I'm watching you. Actually, Candy's watching you. And and there's also the simple point of parts per million. I mean, your parts per million, which is what we measure, like in nitrates, nitrite, ammonia. Your parts per million get really, really diluted down, and as you get into these bigger tanks, right? And whether we're talking about ammonia, nitrite, or anything like that, you really don't want any of that stuff in your tank. But let's say you washed your hands, and in today's COVID-19 world, right? People are going into supermarkets and being offered very strong disinfectants before they come in, and they're disinfecting their carts, their shopping carts with these very strong antibacterial things. So okay, you put this stuff all over your hands, and you come home and you stick your hands in your tank because one of your plants needs to be shifted over a little bit. Well, you just put antibacterial, something that kills bacteria, into an environment that where bacteria, the life of that bacteria, is really what determines the health of the tank to a large degree. So you just poisoned your tank. Now, you do that with a 10-gallon, your little 10-gallon betta tank, or you do that with your 20. There's a chance you're going to see an impact on that tank. You're going to see fish going into distress. You're going to see a die-off of beneficial bacteria. But let's say that I do that. I go to the local market here, and I come home, and I, not even thinking, I just stick my hand in this tank. This 150-gallon plus the 30 or some odd gallons in the sump are going to dilute that antibacterial it's going to dilute it quite a bit. So the possibility of an impact on a tank like this is going to be far, far reduced. And I guess the moral of the story is that you really have to, if you have smaller tanks, you really have to be on the ball. You give your hands a real good rinse. In some cases, even wear gloves, before you get into those smaller tanks. When you go to change, when you work on the filter, for example, on the 30-gallon, I have a 2-stage hang-on back filter. And when I service that filter, I only pull out one of the sponges. There's like 2 sheets of sponge material that I've custom cut and put in there. I only pull out one, rinse that one, put it back in. I never rinse them both at once. Even though with the crushed coral I have in there, there's probably a lot of beneficial bacteria on the bottom of that. But a small tank like that, I'm not going to risk it. Let's say I had a fluval, FX6 or a Sun running on a 40-gallon. I might do half the media and leave the rest of it alone when I do servicing on that, and then put it back together, and then make a note, and then do the other half the next time I service it. That way I don't shock the system. Now, let's say you have two filters on a tank. In that case, you probably can do a full rinse and clean of one of the units and not have that impact, that negative impact, because you have that other unit backing it up, that together with the substrates. Okay, so let me check something here real quick. All right, so those are the points. I mean, you have other things too, like let's say it's the summer and it's hot. A bigger tank is probably less likely to go through it's harder to heat a bigger tank. Let's say you're in a room, you're not running your air conditioner, the room is 80 something degrees for whatever reason. It's going to be less likely to negatively change or shift temperatures in it's going to be a bit of a more stable setup than a tank that is smaller. You also provide more dispersal of things like hormones. You provide more hiding spots. You provide more space to escape in the event of an aggressive fish. So I can go on, but bigger is definitely the way to go. And certainly when you have a smaller setup, you definitely have to be on your toes. You have to really, really be on top of what's going on. And because the impact can be much more drastic, much faster. So let's see what topics we have here going on between you folks. Your comments on this subject, of course, are always appreciated. And see if I missed something here. I'm going to go back in the chat a little bit and take a look at what's going on. T-Bone says, I cannot get any epistogramma anywhere at the moment. So what do you think about? I like tiger barbs. I mean, depends what you're going to mix them with. I love the way they look when you have several of them in a tank, let's say 6 or more. I think they're great looking fish. I've also seen a variety of them where they have green as a prominent color. That can be very, very pretty. Michael, love your videos. Thank you for what you do. Your top 10 video got me back into cichlids. I actually bought a few on your list. Hey, thank you, Michael. I appreciate that, my friend. And let's see here. Candy, thank you for posting that. It's 05 B Ochart XM. That's the discount, the 5% discount code for the Expertmatic. And I noticed you also posted the Santa Monica filtration. On getting a discount from them, which is as much as 10%, be sure you have to talk to them. email them and talk to them before you push the buy button so they understand what you're doing and the discount that you want. Some of you DIY your algae scrubbers. I love algae scrubbers because they, of course, reduce nitrate, and I love opening them up and letting the fish eat, just eat the algae, which is very nutritious. It also removes CO2, and it's a great thing. Bacon 8 tour. Do you guys think he has somebody holding cards up telling him what to talk about? Yeah, I have a whole crew here. There's 25 people here, and there's makeup and lighting and sound, and it's just me in my bedroom and my friends right here. Oh, that's funny. Bacon Eater? Bacon Eater? Bacon, maybe that's Bacon Eater? And I'm with you on that. I'm a bacon eater too. Do you know angelfish are part of the cichlid family? Just picked one up yesterday. Didn't know that. They are part of the cichlid family. But don't make a mistake that some people do and put them in with fish like this, because they will become bacon for these fish. Cichlids, discus are part of the cichlid family, right? So there are, cichlid is a very large family, and I talk about that. A mistake that people make very often when they go to like a PetSmart is they go, oh, look, that's a cichlid, that's a cichlid, that's a cichlid. Let me take those three, and now they have they have a Lake Victoria, they have a Mabuna, they have an angelfish, and anyway, then they get home and they have a hot mess, and they don't know what to do. It's like a battle royale. Everybody's killing everybody, and that's the end of their fish keeping career. And it's an honest mistake. It said cichlid on the label. They should get along. They're all cichlids, right? So, all right, let's continue here. Ray Cooper, you can add a check valve. Yes, you can get check valves and not have to worry. And that is, just a word of caution, check valves can get mineral buildup and eventually fail, or at least not close all the way. Just something to keep in mind. If you do use check valves, do take them off from time to time and either replace them or give them a cleaning, because they will not close completely, and that can be a problem. But yes, you can put check valves in your airline tubing, and also, like, for example, there's a check valve in the hoses that run from the Rio pump that pumps the water up to this out from the sump to this tank. There's a check valve, so the water cannot flow back. And I've had to take it apart and clean it and put it back in, because especially here in Southern California, where we get very hard water, you get a mineral buildup, and the flap doesn't close. It stays partially open, and so you'll still get that backflow. All right. Michael confirms, si italiano. All right, Michael. That confirms it. If it ends in a vowel. All right. John Berman, thank you for this video. You're as right as rain, sir. All right. Thank you, John. Appreciate that. And let's say here. Cat Sailor, Mark's Tropical Fish and Pets discovered him this year and have since bought fish and plants. Mark Weiss is the owner and runs a nice, clean store. Glad you had that. Yeah, tomorrow morning, that video is going to post. I do a full walkthrough. I have a nice discussion with Mark on video, which I seldom do when I go visit these stores. Usually the discussion with the owner is very brief, and it's usually just to get the thumbs up to walk around. And I was able to talk with him a little bit about COVID, a little bit about, just how things have been going on in general for him. And it was a good discussion. Like so many local fish store owners, he's working 7 days a week. I mean, it's like, yeah, that's what I've been doing. That's what I've been doing for 30 years. If you talk to Lisa and her family over at Super Cichlids, I'm sure if you talk to James Largo over at Cichlids Shack, Josh Cunningham, people like this, 7 days a week. 7 days a week. I mean, so when you see IFG, wild fish tanks, yeah, that was it. Wild fish tanks. James, I think James might even be on the stream here. James, how many days a week do you work? Probably 8. 8 days a week. Yep. That's when I see small business owners getting breaks and things, and hey, more power to them. Give them the breaks. GP, most of the fish in my tank are from Imperial. Yeah, I've gotten some great fish from there too. And they sent me a nice T-shirt. James, if you send me a T-shirt, I'll wear it. John Larson, I always match the temp and treat it before I add it to the tank. Always add a little more tap water conditioner just to take care of the city water. Not a bad idea, because the city can be a little bit unusual in how they treat water. And I try and match too. But like I mentioned in that recent water change video, be sure no one in the house is running the dishwasher or jumps in the shower during your refilling, because you can have a big temperature shift and you don't even know it. You're off to the side. You're chatting with somebody on the phone or something, and so definitely. What I do is midway, especially in a large tank like this, if I'm doing a large water change, halfway through the water change, I'll do a temperature check. I'll stop the sink up, I'll open the valve and let some water pour out, and then I'll close the valve and I'll put the digital thermometer in there and see where I'm at. And because if that thing shifts on you, you might have a problem. Let's see there. Hey, Craig from Melbourne, from down under at 3:30 a.m. Now, see, now that's a fan right there. You get up at 3:30 a.m. Craig, thank you so much, buddy. Appreciate it. Andrea Morales, where are the places to buy big tanks? You maybe have to special order them. Some of you on the stream right now, if you know where to buy a big tank, there are certain places that will custom make them for you. Depends what you want, glass or acrylic, and then ship them to you. Sometimes on Craigslist you can get tremendous deals. You just got to have a flatbed truck and some friends to help you move it. But let's see here. Looks like Ray Cooper is adding Stresszyme Plus and Stability Pristine. So you're actually trying to add in some bacteria and other good products there as you do your water changes. That makes sense. Joe's Tips and Tricks. I love watching my cichlids eat the algae. It's amazing to me how much these carnivore cichlids, how much they love eating the algae. They eat it off the wall because it builds up on the wall when you have the hang-on glass, what they call the HOG, the hog, the hang-on glass, in my case, hang-on acrylic algae scrubber. You pull it off and there's a buildup on the wall. They attack that immediately, and then you lay the scrubber down and they work on that. The plecos, of course, they just go in there and park, and they just eat like crazy. But I've noticed my sunshine benga loves it. And so there's certain fish that really, really go after it. The turquoise haps love it for some reason. I don't know why. Any other questions? Go ahead and put them in the chat. I'll go ahead and take them up now. And let's see here. Kathy Gunes, yep, no flushing the toilet at my house when I'm doing water changes. Yeah, I mean you gotta go around and tell everybody. All right, If you gotta go, go now. Oh. Tom needs a reason to get rid of these 2 goldfish. You could probably take them to the local store. They'd probably take them. Put something on Craigslist. 2 goldfish need a good home. And if you have Craigslist where you're at, let's see here. Albert King, can a green tear be a tank made for a Giardini? The answer, Albert, is in the name of the fish. If you have a fish that was named after a famous boxer like a Jack Dempsey or a green tear, chances are you're probably going to want to keep them relatively alone. Let's see here. KG Cichlids, how's your pleco doing? You know, the pleco in the 100 had to be put in the 30 for about a month and a half. I got him nice and fat, and but I didn't want him to be harassed or part of the quarantine, because the fish I bought at Mark's, which are discussed in tomorrow's video, the fish I bought are in the quarantine tank, which is where I had the pleco. And you know, that tank was fine. It was clean. There was nothing going on in there, so it was safe to move the pleco back. So I fattened him up. You know, he had algae wafers and food all to himself for about 6 weeks. So he got rid of a little bit of a concave stomach. He didn't have parasites. He was just having a hard time getting to the food. Now what I do is I feed far left, far right, far left, far right, and eventually enough gets down where the pleco can hover over and drop on some of the food, and gets a shot at it. If I notice he starts to get a little bit skinny again, I'll pull him out and I'll put him back in the 30. I'll leave those fish I got from Mark's, I'll leave them in there until the end of August, at least a month. And beautiful guys. I have a dragon blood that's gorgeous, and more of a traditional, you know, like kind of very small spots of red, and a fish that looks like a little bit like a Z-rock, but the blaze goes all the way from the upper lip to the tail. Just a nice yellow long blaze, beautiful fish. And I picked up another OB that I couldn't resist. So we'll see. I'll probably put them from there into the 100 and see how they do. They're a little big, so maybe they might go here. We'll see how they do in the 100. I'll of course have to keep a real eye on that dragon blood, because they're notorious, and the OBs too can be notorious for being extra aggressive. Hey Sam Penny, good to see you here. My sister's yellow lab is currently in a separate tank holding babies. When she eventually releases them, what would be the best method for reintroducing her back into the Mbuna tank? Well, you know, I'm not an experienced breeder, so if there's someone else on here that can answer that. I do know that the fish is going to be a little weak. Keep in mind that she hasn't eaten for, you know, several weeks, so you're going to have a bit of a weak fish. I'd almost be tempted to put her in a separate compartment, like a breeding box, and let her eat and get some strength back, and then put into the tank. After she's eating normally and going after the food aggressively, and you know, let her catch her breath. That would be my inclination. But there are, I mean, if James is on here, certainly, and some of the other folks in here who breed, you'd probably have a better idea. Let me see here. Javier J. A favorite combination of mine is a large school of tiger barbs and clown loaches with blood orange parrotfish. That could be pretty striking. I know that I know Corey for a while had those that massive, what is that, 800 gallons or whatever he's got, and it was full of clowns and barbs, and it was like a kaleidoscope, you know, all these stripes going by, and then he ended up moving away from that, I guess. Jordan LaBelle, also thank you, Ben, for your last week's advice on Popeye. She's all healed up and doing great. Oh, that's awesome. That's great news. Sometimes people will ask me a question privately, and I'll try to help them. And I love to get the feedback that something worked out well. If you ever need to, if you ever want to write to me, you can. You can write to me at ben.o.cichlid at gmail. I can't guarantee that I'll get back to you instantly. So if it is really truly a 911, maybe get into ben.o.cichlid, the group, and put the problem on that forum, because you'll get a lot faster feedback. But you can write to me at ben.o.cichlid at gmail. I will get back to you. T-Bone is asking, when cycling a tank, do you do water changes? Normally, no. I just let the tank go through its thing, and I do water testing, of course. And but normally I do not. I want the ammonia. I want the ammonia. I want the I want those products to cycle through, and create the nutrition for the bacteria that is, so you want to provide the food to the bacteria, and their food is ammonia and nitrite. So there's no purpose in me reducing, doing a water change to reduce any of that, because that's the food. I also, when I'm cycling a tank, I oxygenate it. I run my power heads or have a bubbler or that kind of thing, because bacteria, loves, the aerobic bacteria, right? I mean, it needs oxygen. So you need a well oxygenated tank. Don't have a tank sitting completely still and expect it to really cycle. Really have the water moving, have oxygen and gas exchange at the top, and the cycle process will move along better, because you'll be providing oxygen to the bacteria. And so that's something that I would suggest. Posiwi, Ben's Facebook group is one. Thank you, Posiwi, for saying that. The reason I love that Facebook group is that it's actually friendly and respectful. It's really kind of a troll-free zone, so there's no stupid question. I mean, I've gone to groups, I'm not going to say any names, but I've been in groups and I've seen someone ask a question, and people just pile on. Why the hell are you keeping that kind of a fish in that kind of a tank anyway, blah, blah, blah. And man, oh man, the person gets shredded. And so in our group, it's set up in a way so that people can ask questions and feel that they're not going to get jumped on. And there are some questions that will make you go, whoa, what the heck, is this for real? But at any rate. All right. So with that being said, I thank any and all of you that have done Super Chats. And remember, anyone who Super Chatted will be in the drawing. And I'll do it with today and next week's Super Chats. Anyone that Super Chatted will be in the drawing for this big pump that was sent to me from Expertmatic. I just opened it today. And I'll be giving this monster away. It's a good size, pushes a lot of air, has 2 outlets, comes with air line and air stones, and it's pretty quiet. They do recommend you have it above the tank, and it's always a good idea to put your air pumps on something, something like a piece of foam like this. Put your air pumps on top of a piece of foam, and that will muffle the vibration so it's not directly against something and creating a frequency or a vibration on the wood of your canopy or on the lid of on your lid or something. So just put your pumps on a piece of foam. That always helps. And with that being said, let me go in one more time and check the chat, and then we will be... Hey, Adam C. I didn't even see you sneak in there. Hey, buddy. Check out Adam C. on YouTube. Beautiful tanks. And it's got some breeding groups going on. And let's see here. Make sure I didn't miss anybody on the super chat, Michael. Okay. So with that being said, I want to thank all of you for joining me today. And you know, I always start these streams wondering if there's going to be enough to talk about, and I get going, and then I look up, and it's an hour. So they really move along, and a lot of that is you guys, you guys and gals asking questions and things of that nature. That really makes a big difference. So I want to thank all of you for joining in, and thank you to my wonderful moderators, and thank you to everybody that supports the channel, and be sure to hit that subscribe button and the like and the bell if you haven't already. And we're going to go ahead and end off right here. Thank you, everybody. You are appreciated. And check out the video tomorrow, a trip to just a landmark in Southern California, Mark's Tropical Fish in the NoHo District, North Hollywood. It's the NoHo Arts District. I think you'll like the video. Thanks, folks. Bye-bye.